You guys ever go and buy a car and it's kind of far away, so once you get there, you're not really happy with it, but you drove kind of far, so you feel like you're obligated to come home with it? Well, that's what we have here. This is literally freshly loaded off the trailer. You can see the ramps right there in the shot. This is my new 1995 325i E36 that I brought home last night. Today is Thanksgiving. I thought it'd be a good idea yesterday before going out to rush up to Wisconsin and pick this up because I thought I was getting a very good price on it. And I got all excited because I was like, oh, this is perfect. A nice little mini build, make it cool, you know, stuff like that. And it just turns out that that is not the case. It is not, well, I don't know if it's a good deal or not. I'm going to go around it with you guys because I'll be honest, when I was there, I didn't really look at much because, like I said, I drove 2 hours and I was like, I feel like I'm stuck with it. And if you see here, where's my foot going? It's a rusty turd, but I bought it anyway because I felt obligated to. And I'm gonna run you guys through what I do with a car that I'm not very pleased with and kind of run you guys through my thought process of what I'm gonna do with this car. Hopefully by the time this video is uploaded, I don't have it anymore. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I'm gonna go around and show you guys this new beauty that I picked up here. And yeah. So it's that time of the year again where all the nice fun cars go away and I'm kind of bored, so I just kind of go look for things on Marketplace. And I actually sold the silver E36, the 328. I know I've mentioned selling it in a few videos. A buyer finally came out and bought it, actually flew in from Seattle for it. I guess my heart was feeling empty without two E36s, so I had to go buy one again. And it's just not a nice car, but I will let you guys do the deciding on that. It's not horrible, so let's go around and check it out. So this is a 1995 325i sedan, as I mentioned, obviously finished in Alpine white with some horrendous aftermarket cheap wheels on it. The interior spec is black, and this is the nicest part of the car, to be honest. This is a mint interior, so that's a huge plus. But the huge downside of this car, aside from the fact that it's auto, would probably be this. Yeah, that's what the rockers look like on this thing. We don't really have jack points on it, and the other side's just as bad. And that kind of bums me out because looking at pictures of this car, besides the fact that it's dirty, I thought, all right, it just has some like light rust on the rockers, and I figured I would just buy side skirts and mount it over it, and it would look totally rust-free and fine. And I didn't realize there was holes in the floor. And that's the main thing when I got there. I was like, dude, I don't even want this anymore. Because I was kind of going to daily this and enjoy it and make it cool. I was thinking about manual swapping it, you know, suspension, wheels. But seeing that, I'm not going to put any more effort into it, and I don't want to put any effort into it. So let's just go around and look at the car all the way, and then I'll mention what I'm going to do with it. But the rockers suck. I mean, it comes onto the wheel arches here. I mean, rusty. This bothered me because I didn't see it in pictures. Bubbled up at the quarters. Like, this is all starting to rust. The trunk's actually not bad. Usually these are rotted out. There's like some weird, you know, nicks that have rusted, but like this is usually gone. That's not too bad. Which is interesting how this car rusted. You know, the rockers are gone, but everything else is, you know, kind of there. Trunk's nice though. It looks like a fresh battery. Rear bumper's intact. It has a muffler, but cats are deleted and the resonator's deleted, which is interesting. This side's even worse with the quarter panel rust on the body. I mean, it goes all the way. I don't know if these have been repaired before or how this would rust, but the arches are rusting, and you can see these beautiful rockers again. And here's the front. Brutal. But the frame rails are intact and the floorboards are intact, so that's, you know, whatever. Rockers are just a cosmetic thing if you can look past that. So this is still has the potential to be a good daily driver for winter, and I think it's perfect for that. And that is literally probably going to be the plan. The front end is actually super clean. The hood's clean. It needs an emblem. Faded headlights, but the grills are there. The bumper's there. And I actually really like white on E36s. I think it looks pretty clean. We got a cracked fog light. Let's go inside. But otherwise, outside the car, the paint, once it's clean, actually looks like it's not too bad. And it's a fairly decent looking car if you could just look past the rockers and the rust. But the interior, as I said, black interior in almost mint condition, I would say. It is really nice in here. 95 climate controls, which are so cool. The battery's dead completely, but it has 140,000 miles on it, which is not bad at all. That's actually pretty solid. The car's sitting at a tilt, I've just noticed. I hope that's the tire and not a shock through the tower. We'll see that in a second. Here's the serpentine belt. So that's why it was partially as cheap as it was, because it had a fuel leak and a serpentine belt snapped. Fuel leak they actually fixed, which is nice because I did not want to deal with that. But the belt snapped. Luckily, I keep spare M50 belts on me, so we're going to swap that out in a second here and get this thing running, and then we could just go drive it. I think it's just already ready to go. We have Glock firearm safety manuals, so it looks like the previous owner recently picked himself up a Glock, which is cool. We're missing this, which I don't know why, but otherwise the headliner's not bad, a little saggy there. Back seat, pretty mint. No, the interior's all here. It needs to be clean, but like even the door panels aren't delaminating. I don't know if they do that on sedans or not, but really decent interior. And you know, part of the reason why I can justify even buying this is because more Glock paperwork. Maybe the Glock is still in this car. That'd be a plus. But part of the reason why I justified this car is because what I paid, and that's kind of what I was going to talk about this video. What do you do when you buy a car that you're not happy with? There's like 3 routes, right? You could part it out, sell it, or lose all your money. And that's part of the pluses to what I do, is that I can look at everything in terms of part out prices, because that's all that goes through my head is BMW parts prices. Like, people ask me what I do and stuff. I am literally a walking almanac of what the value of the cars, the parts are. I mean, like, I've showed you guys glimpses, but like my house is a stockpile of parts. That's all I think about. When I go to buy a car, I look at it in terms of parts. So if things go bad for me, like this, where it's a rot box, I know that if I part it out, I will make money is one thing, but at least make your money back. So that's like my backup. And I know not everyone has the space and time to part out a car, but I do. And that's why buying cars is very easy for me, because I'm never really that worried about it. Okay, thank God the shock is not through the tower. I don't know why it's sitting uneven. These are low profile tires. It might just be my driveway, honestly. But here we have the gorgeous M50 B25. I've actually never owned an OBD1 E36, and I prefer OBD1, as you guys probably know. So I'm pretty stoked on this. And this is another thing right here. This motor itself these days is worth about the price of the car almost. So, like, you know, buying these is like, it's like buying like I don't even know. It's like, I'm trying to relate it to something. But like buying stuff like this at these prices is like buying like toys for me. It's like, you know, I don't really think much about it because there's not much risk involved, because I know what I know. So anyway, serpentine belt is snapped. So we have no alternator, no power steering, no cooling. So can't drive it yet. I got a belt. We're going to throw that on. So I'm going to disassemble this, put the belt on. But otherwise, the engine bay looks pretty straight. It looks all stock, which is really nice, except for zip ties holding in the airbox. But otherwise, like, coolant's a little low, but it's there. We'll check the oil. No, it looks pretty good in here. This is I'm interested to see how this car like handles and drives and runs. Like we ran it there when he put the jump box on it. It actually ran pretty smooth. So I honestly think driving-wise, running-wise, I think this is going to end up being a really nice car. It's just all these decent, because it's only 140K. I mean, that's pretty babyish for a BMW, to be honest. That thing's got almost 300,000. I think this will be actually a decent driver, aside from the crappy tires. And wait, these are 19s? What? Dude, I did not even realize this thing was on 19s. These don't look that big. They look big, but they don't look that big. Wow, yeah, these are rubber band 19s. This is horrible. I gotta get rid of these. But yeah, aside from the 19s and the low profile tires, I think this thing will actually run and drive pretty good. So I'm excited to put this belt on and see. So buying cars with problems is obviously my favorite thing to do, because it's fun, it gives me content, and I don't know, it's easy enough to fix. Something like this is super easy. So you get a car for a good deal because it's not really drivable because of the belt. And I guess these belts, in my mind, you can get them anywhere, right? I don't think it's a rare, like, hard to find belt. at like an auto store, but maybe it is depending on where you're located. So bunch of crap in it. What the hell? There isn't much on M50s that I don't have spare or that I can't troubleshoot pretty easily. And that's why I love these so much, and that's why I was happy to buy this, because it's an OBD1 car. So I love OBD1 cars. We got more chunked belt here. Of course it's seized. Go ahead and get the cheater bar on the holder, and then you can brace it on the, in my case, the cruise control thing, and break it free. Oh, pain in the ass. Alright, let's see what we got going on here. You can see the belt shreds, you can see it's in the crank pulley right there. So I'm gonna start cutting and stuff to get this out, to make sure all the remnants are out and it didn't get sucked into the crank pulley. So I'm gonna dig out this belt real quick and then continue. So we fought and we finally got all the chunks of belt out. I had to take off the water pump pulley because it was wrapped behind it so bad. This was not easy. It was sucked into the tensioner and stuff. But now there's a new development here, and the water pump does not spin. Water pump is completely seized. So maybe that's why this thing chucked the belt, because the water pump locked up. Weird, but it is completely locked up. It looks like it's all like cocked. I think maybe when the belt actually launched, maybe it like messed up the impeller, or not the impeller, the shaft, because it looks a little cockeyed and it is completely stuck. So I'm gonna go search and see if I have any spare water pumps. I feel like I do, but I also think I don't. So that's just great. This is snowballing, but so now I have to dump the coolant and refill it and bleed it, and that's just a pain in my ass. But I don't want to put it back together without a water pump working, obviously, because it'll just overheat. So now I'm hoping that this thing wasn't overheated and blew a head gasket or something, because then I'd really be pissed off. So somehow after all these years, I haven't managed to acquire spare water pumps. So a quick trip to World Pack, because I have connections there to get deals. And $38 later, I got myself a water pump. The brand is like, it says Metrics water pump. The brand on the site said Auto Parts. Who cares? It is a metal impeller water pump. Can't complain. $38. I got the belt I had stocked up. So now we have to go through the mess of doing a water pump on this car, which means we're going to drain coolant everywhere. Definitely don't have to take the upper radiator hose off. I'm not doing the thermostat at the same time, because I'm trying to be cheap here. And if it doesn't leak and it probably works, then I don't want to waste my time. And I would just like to get a better look at the water pump. This hose is just a bit in the way. Oh, nothing. Okay, let's see if it'll pull out. Absolutely not. Alright, hammer and or the screw method. Alright, I've talked about this trick before. For the water pump, you get thermostat bolts or similar sized, I don't know the exact measurement. I think these are M8 bolts. It says 8.8. I have these from another E36, and there's two slots on the side of the water pump, here, and you thread these in, and it pulls your water pump out for you. So it's a little trick there. Just like that, in a matter of seconds, it all goes wrong. I actually cross-threaded the bolt that I was using to pop out the water pump, snapped the head off. So I'm trying to pry the water pump out with a screwdriver, and as you can see there, the thermostat housing, I cracked the neck off. So fantastic. I have another thermostat housing, but I don't know about a gasket. And now the thermostat housing has to pop off, which means more work for me. Stupid little mistake like that gives me more work. Oh, dude, miserable. That is absolutely miserable is what that is. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pop all this off camera, fix my mistake, and then I'll show you the parts side by side. All right, so here we have all of our new parts. So there's the new water pump I showed you, and here is the old one out. Look how crusty that O-ring is. I'm surprised it even sealed. But if you look here and you look closely, this is cocked. So this is the mounting surface, and you can see the actual impeller is like this. So that's why it was seized. You can see the gap there and not there. So now that it's out, I can actually get it to spin. But when it was installed, I think this was just locked up on the actual cylinder head, like on the wall there. And then here is our cracked thermostat housing. Luckily, I keep spares around. I'm not going to use a metal one on this because this isn't a car that I deem necessary for a metal one. I like to keep a spare metal one for myself for more important builds. And then while I'm in there, I might as well replace the thermostat because this one says made in West Germany, which I don't really understand because this is a 95, and why would a thermostat, I mean, I guess maybe new old stock or whatever, because I don't think these have really changed much between, you know, any BMWs. So, but basically that means this was made before 80, I've went over this in the E30 video, what, 88, 87, something like that. So the O-ring's flat, so I kept a good thermostat out of my M3 actually that didn't really need to be replaced, but I did anyway. And then I keep fresh thermostat O-rings on deck. Went and picked this up. So we got all our new seals, all our new components. We're ready to install. So I'm just gonna go quickly jam these in there. I got the surfaces all cleaned up, and I will be back when we're ready to bleed this. So right now we have a clear example of the snowball effect when you're working on these cars that are, you know, neglected. This one's not too bad, but obviously the cooling system, if it's ever been done, it's been a long time. But I feel like, well, actually it's had to have been done because this is a metal impeller water pump. There is a date on here, but I don't feel like cleaning it off. But anyway, so I was feeling around, and the tensioner pulley is actually almost frozen. It hardly spins. I have it off the thing already, so you can't really see by hand. But, I mean, you can see it's rusted, barely spins. This is one of the ones I pulled off another M50. Luckily, I keep these. It should be moving pretty smooth. This one is froze. So, yet another thing that may be the reason why that belt just shredded itself, because it's, I mean, a bunch of frozen components on here, which is super weird. So, the idler pulley is decent. So I'm just going to replace this tensioner really quick. I'm not going to do the whole thing because there's no point, because you can just unbolt this. So I'm going to pop this fresh one in, and then we will have most of this belt cooling system good to go. The idler pulley, like I said, it's not great, but it does spin free. So new belt going in. All right, let's see if she fires up. Oh yeah, power steering works. Alternator lights off. No noises. Beautiful. This is a nice sounding M50. It's quiet. Sweet. Alright, so now it's clutch fan time, bleeding the coolant, and then just kind of tucking away all the stuff we took apart. We're ready to go on a drive in this thing. So this car already had green in it, which means I'm going with green because you're not supposed to mix. Yes, I know it's not optimal, but I'm gonna have to put a little bit of distilled water in there. Look at all these bubbles coming out. I think we got it, so now put the bleeder back in, close it up all the way. We're going to start the car, get it to operating temp, fan on high. Once it's at operating temp, we'll crack this a couple times. And that should be the cooling system bled. And obviously the hope here is that we don't overheat. Alright, fan's on full blast. I'll wait for it to get up to temp. Put this back. Well, she's coming along nicely. We got heat on the inside. The exhaust smells very weird and a lot of water, but I think the car's been sitting for quite some time. So this thing's a cat delete, resonator delete, just a muffler, and let's listen to it. Sounds horrible, but at least it's still got the muffler, so it's not too loud. Does head unit work? Ooh, fancy. Whoa. This is actually a kind of a cool head unit. It's got a little screen. Is this touch screen? No, not touch screen. Oh, I'm sorry, I lied. It's got 158,000 miles. Still, that is super low in BMW terms. I mean, if you've been around these cars like me, man, a lot of these have 200K plus, and a 200,000 mile car does not scare me at all, in the slightest. So this is like a baby. All right, we're gonna do one little crack, and then we're going for the drive. A couple bubbles, a lot of bubbles, and there we go. That was fluid, so we're good there. Okay, so we have a check control light for license but brake light failure, and that's it. No lights on the dash. Hot heat, temp gauge in the middle. It's a little too close on my face, but whatever. Does the washer fluid work? No. Okay, this heat is blasting me. All the whatever you call them, all the like general amenities seem to be working. Like it brakes, it drives, it runs, no weird noises. Windows work. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 for 4 on the windows. Horn. Oh yeah. Lights. I think. Heat and radio I'm pretty excited about. We got the full button OBC. Taillight failure, brake lights failure. Taillight, brake light. Okay, so we have issues with the taillights. Range 245. Oh man, almost a full tank. I can't see anything out of this windshield. The heat is hot. Temp gauge still in the middle. That's what we want. Because you know, a lot of times the biggest worry about a car that you know, pops a belt or a water pump or a thermostat is a lot of people are stupid and they overheat the cars, and then you have an overheated engine that is ruined. So it's a surefire way to destroy the car. I just realized I don't have a license plate on, so I can't go too far. But since we're at temp, let's see what a 325 if you floor it feels like. That's actually not bad. That's not too bad. This thing, I gotta say, and I've said this before about a lot of the times you put, you know, different engines, different cars. M50 feels a lot faster in an E36 than an E34. I mean, as it should, that makes sense. Like a stock 525 is fun with a manual, but auto is pretty unbearable. I gotta say, this with an auto is actually bearable, and the auto shifts really nice. Heated seats, oh baby, this might be my winter beater. The 21s definitely feel, or not 21s, what am I thinking? The 19s definitely feel kind of like crap. Not bad though. Like, I don't know what suspension. It's got white shocks, so it's not like original. Whoa, we almost spun it right there. Yeah, they're not bad. They obviously a 35 Pro and a 19 on an E36 feels a bit stupid, but, and I haven't gone, you know, 90 on the highway, but it feels not horrible, so that's a good thing. The 95 climate controls are like my favorite thing ever. They still have the dials like E34s, but otherwise this thing is kind of nice. ASC, let's turn that off and see if we can kick out this corner. No, we cannot, but it's not bad. Honestly, not bad at all. This is not a bad car. Man, you'd think a 325 auto would be bad, but like, I don't want to say it's fun, but like, it's not bad. Would I actually buy and build one of these, like a nice one? Probably. But I have to say, I've started this video mentioning that I'm regretful of the purchase, but I don't know if that's necessarily true, because now that I fixed it and it runs and it actually drives pretty good, better than I think, I'm actually kind of happy about this. This is not a bad car for what I paid. Am I still gonna sell it? Yes. So that's what I was gonna talk about, the plan with this car. If it was less rusty, I would probably modify it and build it and make a cool sedan, because I do like sedans. I've never had an E36 sedan, but given the lack of rocker panels, I don't really want to put money into it, meaning I don't want to put nice parts on it and stuff like that. Not that I can't get my money out of those parts, but I don't really want to put the work into it. I got the E28 build that's going to be, you know, very time consuming, so I don't really want another build. So this is going to be a Black Friday deal, I think, as I mentioned in the beginning, and that's why I talk about at the beginning of this video. When you regret the purchase of a BMW, what do? Well, in my book, 3 things. You live with it, you try to sell it right away, or you part it out. And in this page, this car could be parted out for probably twice to 2.5 times what I paid, and I would profit, which, yes, is enticing, but it's never fun parting out a car. It's never fun sitting on parts. So I'm kind of less inclined to do that, but if I had to, I would. So what the plan with this is, the sun is destroying my lighting here. What I plan for this car is I'm going to list it up for sale, and it's gonna be a cheap E36, even though it's actually kind of nice. And that's just gonna be me kind of hooking up a follower on Instagram or whatever. By the time this video drops, like I said, it hopefully is already gone. If it's not, I will be dailing this, and I'll part it out in the spring, because this is a nice winter daily. You don't have to worry about rust, but it's got good amenities. The E30, the heat doesn't work very good, and it's just not a very, it's just a tad bit unmodern to where it's kind of a pain to daily. But this thing with different wheels, I think will be a very nice daily. So we will see where it takes us, but we'll call that a wrap there. Here is my new beater destroyed rusted 325, not 525. Runs great, drives pretty decent, not a bad car. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.